Additional privilege is a one-way street. We all know it. We don't talk about it, because in talking about it, we would have to admit that it applies to us as well. Each new piece of privilege comes to be a right. We come to expect that which we already have, and even what the neighbor has. So for example, when I was a kid, on a party line with the telephones, our telephone would ring. If it rang once, it was for us. If it rang twice, it was for the neighbor. And then, next thing you know, several years later, everybody had a cellular telephone. Everybody's walking around and carrying their phone with them. And then, before you know what happens, just a very short time later, everybody has a phone, and they also have everything else on the phone. All these apps that allow them to be perennially connected to everybody else on the planet, as if most people on the planet even care. In any event, the best dog in the world, Savannah Louise Rose O'Malley McPherson, was less than 2 years old, or maybe it was right about had just turned 2 years old, when I moved to the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, Falls Church, Virginia, to be exact. And my brother and sister-in-law visited for the Christmas holiday, and we went away for the Christmas holiday, so they house sat and dog sat for us. It all seemed to work swimmingly until we got back. Now, here was the routine. We were living in a rental house that had issues, serious issues. Like, we would meet somebody on a walk around the neighborhood. We'd try to explain to them where we lived, and they couldn't understand because I wasn't explaining it well enough, until I would say, "It's the house with the big blue tarp on the roof." And they go, "Oh, right, that's the one." So we lived at that house. It had issues, had many issues. Among them, for example, that it didn't have a doggy door. It didn't have an exit, an entry space for poor Savannah. So she would get up, shake her head, and she had tags on, so that would waken me up. And I would take her to the back door where the yard was, where she couldn't escape, and set her free out there. When she was done doing her morning business, she would come back in, and the door would hit the wall, and I would hear it. So I was back in bed by that time. I go back out then to close the door. All right, so my brother and sister-in-law are staying. They stay for a week, maybe 10 days, and Savannah wakes up. She rattles her tags. I go let her out. I wait a few minutes. I hear the door slam. I go to close the door. I close the door. It takes me about 30 seconds from the time I left the bed until I get back to the bed again. And who's lying in bed? Savannah. Savannah is lying in bed. For the first time ever, she's been trained to jump up on the bed. Thanks, brother and sister-in-law, for training Savannah so that she would jump up on the bed. We had a full bed. A full bed doesn't leave a lot of room for 2 humans and a 55-pound dog. So as soon as we got back to Tucson, we got a queen-size bed. We had to, because additional privilege is a one-way street, and there's no way Savannah was going to put up with a full bed anymore. It applies to my life too, of course. I've got a house I live in that we're making mortgage payments on. I've got 2 cars on this property so that we won't be inconvenienced. Now, admittedly, they're almost as old as I am, but whatever. And we have chickens. We have 10 hens here on the property. And I don't think I'm ever going to be able to go to the grocery store and buy eggs again. Because once you've had hens of your own laying eggs, and we're getting 7 to 9 eggs each day for the 2 of us, that's a lot of eggs. So once you have chickens on the property, it's hard to imagine going to the grocery store and buying those eggs. At the edge of extinction, only love remains. And for a while, some chickens and the eggs they're laying.